find yourselves on Cypher's doorstep. Boss, the intel team has come back with its report following its investigation into PF Logistics. Cypher has to be involved with this distribution network somehow. One thing in particular caught my eye. A convoy that regularly crosses the Savannah. On paper, it's just mined resources going to the government, but the security's much too heavy. At the very least, it's worth checking out. Take a look at the mission.
Ocelot. I hear they started calling you Shalashaska in Afghanistan. What's that about?
You know the term Sharashka? It's slang for a suspicious, hastily thrown together organization. The word became associated with a type of forced labor facility in the Soviet Gulag system. OKB scientists and engineers who'd been convicted of crimes were sent to a Sharashka for forced R&D. The Sharashkas were supervised by Lavrenti Beria of the NKVD, the secret police, under the official name 4th Special Department.
Forced research? That's not very different from what we do here.
Diamond Dogs is different. Everyone here believes in you. Regardless of where they came from or why they're here, they revere you. And they're fighting because it was their choice.
And if it wasn't, they'd leave?
Who knows? That's our reality here, whether it's real or not. If there's another truth, I don't want to know it. All that matters is that's the concept that's taken shape in their heads. The traces of a group ideology, our superstructure, to put it in Marxist terms.
All right. Go on.
Right. So anyway, at some point the enemy started calling me Sharashka. This was after the war in Afghanistan broke out. While I was keeping an eye on you in that hospital, I was also heading up interrogations here. The men I broke gave up their comrades and families, everything they wanted to protect them most. No real cause for it. I just let myself get caught up in the old Russian pride. And suddenly I received the honor of becoming Special Interrogation Advisor to the force. But the more men I interrogated, the more people saw me as just that. The interrogator. It helped cover my real objective of keeping you safe.
You went that far for me?
Far enough to keep you alive. I ended up being pretty well known among the Afghan guerrillas. Some of them would have seen me on the battlefield. And that's how I got the second half of the name. Shashka. It's a sword. A type of saber for... Russian dragoons and Cossacks carried them into battle. Now, the Russian Empire had a general by the name of Fyodor Arturovich Keller. His bravery earned him the nickname Russia's Greatest Shashka. Someone must have known about that, because somewhere along the line, Shashka got stuck on the end of Sharashka. The guerrillas were using the name amongst themselves, and by the time I got to hearing about it, pronunciation had wound up as Shalashashka.
So, half Gulag, half Hero Sword. It was a perfect fit.
But you see how rumors and ideas about people can get out of hand fast. Once you create a character and put it out there in public mind, it warps and twists with every baseless rumor. And before you know it, all people see are phantoms. In my case, it works out just fine. I'm plenty used to working under aliases.
So SALT II still hasn't gone into effect.
That treaty was drawn up to limit not just the size of the U.S. and Soviet Union's nuclear arsenals, but also their delivery systems. The whole deal. Just when we thought all those years of negotiations had paid off, somebody decides to invade Afghanistan. The timing couldn't have been worse.
The president was in the middle of the SALT II talks back then.
You mean while you were busy trying to stop Peace Walker? I heard. President Ford was meeting with the General Secretary in Vladivostok. In his absence, the political brass in America detected what they didn't realize was false nuclear launch data from Peace Walker, and were on the verge of ordering a retaliatory nuclear strike.
Coleman's big idea? Humans are incapable of destroying themselves. Turns out he never knew what humans are capable of.
If that AI, the boss, hadn't found a way to stop the fake data transmission, they probably would have gone ahead with the launch.
Deterrence was revealed as the pipe dream it was.
All thanks to you. And her. The U.S.-Soviet talks looked set to fall through. What happened in Nicaragua no doubt helped trigger a change of heart. But in the end...
The time's to find the politics. When you've grabbed their tail, they turn and bite your hand.
I first met you 20 years ago now. The place was Selenouyarsk in the Soviet Union. We were enemies. I was with the GRU. You were still fighting for America. 1964. Operation Snake Eater. Its objective? The assassination of the legendary soldier known as the Boss. When you returned home successful, they awarded you the title Big Boss. Your CO, Zero, sought to carry on the boss's will by covertly establishing his own organization. You knew the original members from Operation Snake Eater. From America, there was David O, or as he was to you, Major Zero. Donald Anderson, a.k.a. Sigint. Dr. Clark, who went by paramedic during the operation. And the fourth, you. From China, there was Eva. And me, Ocelot, from the Soviet Union. 6 in total. To us, government notions of friend and foe were meaningless. As were East and West, we joined forces by our will alone. Our objective was to fulfill the boss's dying wish. To make the world one. And to do it, Zero used the Philosopher's Legacy, the secret war fund you obtained during Operation Snake Eater. This organization would go on to become Cypher. I, on the other hand, you only recovered half of the I had to locate the... When I found the funds, I passed them on to Zero.
I still trusted him in those days.
We thought what he was doing was until he started that one project.
Les enfants terribles.
You parted ways. As did Eva, leaving only Anderson and Clark still with him. I maintained limited contact. Although, truth be told, the reason was always you. After you returned to the Army and created Foxhound, for a time even I'd lost track. I'd imagine Zero did. You always were the best when it came to hide and seek. Zero created Cypher, an information network to tap and woven together. Cypher's arteries make the world... It also monitors the thorn in Zero's side. That's you. Tracking your coordinates wherever you... The further you strayed from your roots, the larger Zero became, as if he was trying to close the gap between you. But before long, he disappeared from... Only a few people had direct... For a time, within a year after you fell into your coma, he slipped out of sight, and since then, nothing. No photos, no recordings, not even a rope. I tried every method I could think of, but Zero was gone. Freed of his control, his creation, his power continued to grow. Cypher is a great beast, and Zero, but even without him, it's endured. But now its body is rotting, riddled with parasites like the ones who attacked you. Cypher's Black Ops unit, XOF, they learned where you were and came to wipe the slate. Christmas Eve, 1979. As Muslims had revolted against the Soviet-friendly regime established the year the DRA forces could no longer contain it themselves, the Afghan government was powerless and fraught with... They lost the hearts and minds of the people. and that alarmed us. With the Islamic Revolution happening in Iran, the Soviets felt they had to act superpower, sending a motorized rifle division against men on horseback with antique. Everyone thought it'd be over, and some Muslims made their fight a jihad, a holy war, and began. These fighters call themselves being supported by the West through Pakistan. That's why Miller was involved. He was training them near the Zero Line. The war has become a nightmare for the Soviet troops stationed here. They thought they'd be headed home in 6 months at the most. Then a year passed. 2 years. Now here we are 4 years on with no exit in sight. Afghanistan has become the Soviet Union's Vietnam. The Soviet troops on the ground want to go home, but at least they have homes to go back to. The Afghans have lost theirs. The Soviets destroy the Kishlaks, villages, wherever they can. They burn down homes and fields, fill in wells, turn pasture. It's created a mass of refugees. If the Mujahideen are fish swimming around the village, the Soviets will go so far as to dry out their ocean. This has had a big price. There's bitter resentment among the Afghans, and they're taking out their anger on the soldiers on the front. Among the Mujahideen are the Pashtun people. They're fierce. Soviets they've captured have had their hands, feet, and noses cut off, just to show their comrades with their cape. Friendlies who come across them can do nothing but then they burn down another village, and the cycle of vengeance goes on. This war, the Kremlin never expected to have this much trouble against the Mujahideen. Afghanistan is a tribe with the honor of their people at stake. No matter how hard the Soviets hit them, they continue. But there's one thing, even the they're highly maneuverable and equipped with massive firepower. The Mujahideen can barely scratch anyone who hangs around gets mowed down by this new honeybee weapon that was given to the Hamid fighters. Which makes it a weapon that could change the course of the war. Those guerrilla fighters known as Afghanistan and that's probably how the honeybee ended up in the hands of the Hamid men.
Kaz, what about the unit that attacked us in the mist?
That wasn't my first run. It happened right before I was captured. We were on the Zero Line that day, the Afghan side. On our way back from training the Mujahid. There's a lot of that work. Most PFs shy away from it because for the job it was our point.
Skulls.
The next month if you just get the hell out of there. When I first started dealing with Zero.
Why put Mother Base in the Seychelles?
We're at the center of the world here.
We're all the way out in the Indian Ocean.
Come on. Lebanon, Sri Lanka, East Timor, and Africa. From here, our reach extends to...
So it's prime real estate.
Exactly. Latin America isn't as close as I'd like, but we have a map. And besides, the Seychelles government
owes us.
The Seychelles has strong ties to the east. It came to a head 3 years ago. It was a force of South African mercenaries. With you, they were only platoon size. But not too much for the Seychelles. In the end, they accepted help from the Tanzanian army. We set up the deal and handled on. That led to some training work for the... And when we put down a mutiny within their forces, well, they don't pay us. They just let us have a piece of their offshore if something else happens.
So we're bodyguards, too.
It's a good setup. We can only take Mother Base. We'll have to find somewhere else when this place starts.
Aren't you being a little...
Nothing hasty. You're back with us now.
So, Kaz, the ship that took us from Cyprus, it used to be a whaler.
Yeah, a Japanese vessel. How was the voyage?
It was...
Well, she was part of a whaling fleet up until a few years ago. Her displacement isn't anything to write home about, but she can really move. She still had plenty of life left in her, but then the work dried up. Global opposition to whaling has been mounting for years.
Is that right?
And also as a chopper resupply vessel. Diamond docks. The word diamond originally comes from the Greek adamas. It means indomitable. Other words for the stones often mean eternal bond. 40. The same is true of the Star of Bethlehem flowers you laid on. They represent innocence, yielding to no man while maintaining one's virtue. In other words, staying loyal to something.
Caution, rain approaching.
DD makes Makes a pretty good partner, huh, boss?
I'll think about it.
You called that thing Sahelanthropus.
Well, several years ago, and
Central.
what's significant about it is how its skull's foramen magnum faces down. In other words, its spinal column supported its head from underneath.
It stood upright.
Right. Which would mean Sahelanthropus walked upright 3 million years before Australopithecus, making it the world's oldest human species.
Walking upright. I get it. Hence the name Sahelanthropus for your machine.
Walking upright was the decisive difference between our ancestors and other anthropoids. Our brains could get heavier once they were supported by the spinal column. That led to the use of tools and the development of complex communication.
But that skull also symbolizes somebody else.
Snake! You finally... Cypher. Dr. Clark... No! Not him! Not Ocelot! You can't do this!
Hard to believe how many of those bipedal weapons have popped up around.
What is Cypher really up to?
What do you mean that poor cassette? I'm just trying to take the notifications of the cassettes off my deal.
Please select a mission. Please select a mission. Unit dispatched.
Does it? I can't tell yet. But then again, I've never played this game before, so... Well, okay, I played Metal Gear before, but the last one I played was on PS2. No, PS3. It was Metal Gear 4 with Old Man Snake. And then before that, I played Sons of Liberty, which was on the PS2. And that's the only two Metal Gear games I played. But this is a whole different Snake than the last game I played. Is it like that in every game? Is it a different snake in every game?
Weather will clear shortly.
See, I didn't play Peace Walker either.
Please select a mission.
The old snake from Metal Gear Solid 4 was the one from his big boss. So who's this guy, this punished Venom Snake, or whatever his name is? How do I return back to Mother Base? There it is.
Please select a landing zone. Heading to Mother Base.
Hey, I'll be right back, bro. Alright, I'm back.
Yeah. You see that in the movies? That's an automatic. Don't bother trying to dampen the recoil. You do that with a revolver. We Diamond Dogs are now a force to be reckoned with. We've got the world's attention. We're not some tribal militia. So don't act like one. You will learn how a real soldier fights. You will forget everything Hollywood taught you. And if I catch you doing something else, you'll know it. Engravings give you no tactical advantage whatsoever. There was some fancy shooting. Pretty good.
Boss, I need to talk to you about this. Quiet. Can you meet me at her cell here on the base? Whenever's fine. Thanks.
Please select a landing zone. Landing zone.
Roger.
confirmed.
This is Pequod, on station at LZ.
Please select a landing zone.
Heading for objective.
What do you mean? Fast travel. With a box. I don't have to take the helicopter or one of them jeeps. Go to a shipping spot and hop in a box. Huh, I didn't know that, bro. I guess for the moment I'm stuck going this way since I've already done got into a helicopter. This freaking mother base is huge. Does it get bigger than this? Wow. Like more spread out? her cell. Down here, I bet. Yep. Yeah, whoever thought her up, the guy who designed this game was a pervert. Obviously, because of the half-naked sniper chick Quiet.
Refuses to wear clothes. The last staff member who tried to dress her, breathing through tubes. Other than that, she's completely cooperative. She understands English, but she never speaks, sweats, or breathes. What? Well, not with lungs, at least. She breathes through her skin. Clothing would suffocate.
Clothing would suffocate her. Yeah, right. Yeah, whoever designed this game was a serious pervert.
Can't be submerged.
What's wrong with her?
She's drinking. Through her skin.
She's okay?
She's okay. She just can't move when she's taking in water. Look. See that? She hasn't eaten a thing since she got here.
She doesn't eat either?
Never. It's photosynthesis.
Photosynthesis. That's the verdict from the medical staff.
No, jury's still out. It's the only explanation for what we've seen. The GRU had a man with that ability in its Cobra unit. Now, we don't think she's contagious. Some of the staff can't stomach her. It's starting to affect morale.
Can't you send her on a mission?
By herself? No. But as you know, she does have skill. Why not take her out on one of your missions? She seems to like you. Of course, only if you think she'll be useful. Next time you go out, you keep her in mind.
Side-op completed. Side-ops list updated.
Let us know if you need supplies, boss. Boss, don't let that woman out. Please.
Marker placed.
Boss!
You have arrived at your destination. Please select a delivery point.
Roger.
ahead.
This is Pequod. Arriving shortly at LZ. This is Pequod. On station at LZ. Gaining altitude.
Looks like you've gotten used to working with Quiet. I don't see a problem with giving her some new weapons. I've already talked it over with the R&D team.
Unit function added.
Being a scout sniper, there are two tasks you can give Quiet. The first is to infiltrate an outpost ahead of you and scout out the enemy's positions. The second is to send her to a sniping position and have her cover your infiltration. The kind of sniper support she'll provide will depend on the weapon you give her. Of course, this is all assuming she's willing to follow orders.
Please specify a project. Please specify a project. specify a project. Development project has been added. Please specify a project. Development project has been added. Please select a mission. Unit dispatched. Unit dispatched. Please select a landing zone. Heading to Afghanistan. Marker removed. Marker placed.
There are reports of a Pashto English interpreter operating in that area. If you extract him, he could be plenty useful for us.
Analysis complete. Extraction arrived at the base. Enemy presence detected. The map has been updated. Analysis complete. Analysis complete. Analysis complete. Analysis complete.
That's the target.
Guard post completed. Side ops list updated.
Okay, subject is in.
Extraction arrived at the base. Unit function, you have arrived at your destination.
He's coming too. Roger that.
Development project has been added. Please select a landing zone. Support helicopter
Roger.
requested.